Alright guys, we are going to watch a video from somebody whom I really appreciate. I consider him a friend of mine. And this man is of course my buddy DG, DG360. And this is a video that he made a long time ago, 5 years ago. The truth about Star Citizen. And I want to see if the truth, if the way that people thought that the truth was about Star Citizen 5 years ago still applies to this day. So let's see how right my friend DG was 5 years ago about Star Citizen. I think that's going to be an interesting one.
Hey gamers, welcome back to the Games. I did a video about
I
a week or so.
I missed that.
Pretty well. Got quite a bit of attention. It was called "The Truth About Star Citizens." You guys can check that out in that tab if you've not
Oh
seen
my
that.
gosh!
It's getting some traction, and I think it's just because a lot of this.
What did not age so well is the old characters in Star Citizen. They look so much better now than they did 5 years ago. That's for sure.
That, sometimes the loudest members really aren't the ones that we should listen to. But in our society, it tends to be that the most dominant, loud voices are the ones that are heard the most. You can see that pretty much by anything that
still the case today, unfortunately, and it has not become any better. DG,
views, the most hits. I'm not operating off of that. I just want to get some messages out there on videos that really I don't think are out there right now. I don't think.
Yeah, Kaden says he has not seen those hangers in a while. I don't think they're in the game anymore.
I think they're important for our community. And today I want to talk about the truth about the game. After I talk about the community, I just kind of started thinking, well, what about the game? Let's talk about like the people behind it.
Let's see how DG was right.
Said right now, I want to dispel a lot of the naysayers and the doubters right now.
Oh yeah, there were lots of naysayers 5 years ago. I think that it was even before. That's when I just started making contents, because yesterday, by the way, guys, this is the anniversary stream. I need to make a proper anniversary stream, but today is the anniversary of the YouTube channel. 5 years ago, I posted my first video on the YouTube channel. And so today is the anniversary. So, and I was quite a naysayer already.
One of them. Feel free, step up to me. I love the debate. Keep it respectful. I'm not.
DG loves to argue and debate. He likes to rant too.
Argument with you guys. The internet. We're for you guys to talk to. And hopefully you guys enjoy what it is that I'm spouting off.
He likes the banana fountain.
I kind of want to get over
and salads. Favorite thing to eat.
This whole frustration cycle, as I call it, and that's anybody. I mean, I realize this game 5 years, five years. And people
so when he says that the game has been in development for 5 years, and now it's 5 years later we're watching this, so 10 years.
We're talking about time, right? So
I know, right? Because this video was made 5 years ago.
That have started from the very beginning, and some have kind of just
original backer here
anymore. And for whatever,
and it's really sad, 5 years ago, some of the original backer had no more stamina. Can you imagine how it is? 10 years ago, I still got the stamina. I'm still loving Star Citizen. Really excited about it. I love pretty much everything about the experience, the Star Citizen experience, but I can understand it can be quite frustrating for a lot of people, right? Hey, Nick, you've been also a bagger for 10 years. That's awesome, man. Original baggers, right?
For whatever reason, they're frustrated because they spent a lot of money in the game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's understandable that these people are a little bit upset because the game isn't finished. But this is a game that is never going to be finished. Now, when I say that...
Now, that's actually a very good point, and we saw that a little bit earlier when we had a video about server meshing. It's a game that will never be finished. There will always be something new to make. There's always going to be a new gameplay loop to make. And server meshing, they did say today, server meshing is going to take a long time. It's going to take years to make. Just like persistent entity streaming was years in the making, server meshing is years in the making as well. Because when we're going to have the planets, the new systems, it's just going to be the new systems, but then they want to be putting, server meshings for different areas. Maybe a capital ship is going to be its own server as well. That's how they are going to be enabling eventually in the future capital ship battles or massive org versus org battles with capital ships and fighters at the same time. They need to fine-tune server meshing to the point where Star Citizen becomes this huge open world in which tons of things are happening simultaneously at the same time. And it's definitely going to take an extra 10 years for sure.
Let me just tell you that I'm actually talking about the development of this game will never stop. And that's a good thing. You know, like a lot of games, the old way of thinking about games is that they're designed and then they're pumped out, they're finished, and that's it. That's done. Now, this isn't the way that this game is designed to be, and I like that. And for people that are saying that the game is never going to be finished, you're right. But that's
Yeah.
a good thing. And
I like how DG
if you're
made this
waiting
video
for this
before
finalized
FOIP was
release
a thing.
version, okay, guess what? It's going to be developed after it's finalized. Now, I'm sure this will go on for years and years to come. This is the type of game you got yourself into. Maybe it wasn't presented correctly.
Now, that's another good point he's making. It definitely was not presented correctly. I don't know if you guys remember the original video, the original presentation. It was just a demo, in-engine demo. It's not even an in-game demo. It was an in-engine demo, and that was basically it. And Star Citizen, there was no difference between Star Citizen and Squadron 42 at the very beginning. It was just, this experience. You would have the single player campaign and this simple universe where you'll be going between planets and do some trades and callbacks. But it was supposed to be very basic at the beginning, and a game like that would have just taken just a few years to build, and then it would have been out of the door, and that would have been it. Of course, after that, more technology was researched, more opportunities came, and we were asked on whether or not we wanted Star Citizen to become this huge, limitless experience that they're building right now. But at the beginning, this is not how Star Citizen was presented.
Maybe Sig should just do a video that presents the game and says, listen, this is like an investment of your soul.
Yes, Twidget. Hey, Twidget, how's it going, man?
It's going to take some time. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, it was just Chris, his
really
wife, his kids, and his friends.
Like any other
That's
game,
what it was.
It's a revolutionary game. There has been no game where it's seamless, and this is the first game where it's really seamless. I'm sure there's a few you guys can,
There's Mark Strong. Awesome to see those actors.
The scope of this game is just ridiculously large, and for somebody to have to come in and design this, all these people that are coming in to design this is not fake. The money that it takes to do this is more than 140 million, which they have collected now. And some people
140 million. We are at more than 500 million now, DG. That's how much money we've collected. But it's interesting that 5 years ago we were already past 100 million dollars, right? So it was already quite a lot of money 5 years ago, and 5 years after that, it's insane, right? I know the first Kickstarter video with Chris, Sandy, and his kid, it was hilarious, but at the same time, it was quite awe-inspiring too. And there you see Chris doing the mocap shoots in 2013. Look at how young Chris was. Look at how young he was. That's he look. It really looks like time has passed. And time has had a heavy toll on Chris, because I don't think Chris imagined how much work it would have been, how much of a milestone just doing all of those texts, creating all those texts and making them playable. But it's good for him, It's still his dream game, and he's working hard at creating it. Squadron 42 is still his dream single player game, his gaming experience, the merging of movies and gaming, but in a 20th century way. It's it's been a long time already in the making, but this again shows you it really shows you that it's never going to be finished, and it's just chapter 1. There's going to be chapter 2 and chapter 3, so we can expect that once Squadron 42 is finished, they're going to go back to the mocap studio again, and they'll do it all over again, right? Oh, Twidget, yeah, you saw the dog. Yeah, they even put the dog, right?
Well, that's ridiculous. Come on now, 140 million. Are you kidding me? They can't get this game done now. Well, yeah, they can't get it done now. You're either believing in the people that that you've invested in or not. It's like the real world. When you invest in a stock, you invest in the company because you either believe in it or you're just trying to make a quick buck. And you know what? Maybe the people that are frustrated are just trying to make that quick buck on the game and get they just want to play it and have all the juices and the amazing rush of adrenaline.
Well, 5 years ago,
eye candy and
5 years ago there wasn't much to play 5 years ago, and that's also a reason why people were frustrated. 5 years ago, we were at the very beginning of Alpha 3.0. So we were out of 2.0 already. We already had the planetary take, but it was very buggy. We had a ton of crashes to desktop. Not a lot of 30Ks, not a lot, because it was just the moons of Crusader, and that was basically it. But a ton of crashes to desktop, very, very low frames, even in the middle of nowhere on the planet, low frames, and it was not a pleasant experience. I remember sometimes not being able to play for more than an hour because then I was getting motion sickness. That's how it was. Twitchet with a bit! Thank you so much, Twitchet. I don't know why there is no alert. There should be an alert. But I appreciate, man.
They want it right now. Well, that's just not the way that this game is. This is a long-term investment. This is a long-term play. You're investing in Coke. You're investing in Pepsi. You're investing in like companies that have been around for quite a while. This is that type of company. It's a blue chip stock. It's a company that cares. I mean, you can't tell me that the game's not going to be finished when you have so many people back.
Celebrating the walk down memory lane, yes.
In probably modern. Well, no, that's not true. But it would be a very large failure. And I understand people can come up to me and say, well, what about Enron? That was a huge company. It was, and it fell flat.
I don't
it wasn't
remember
a
what
real
Enron was.
company. Or you can come to me and tell me about, any number of companies that have, presented something that was completely false and lied to people. But this is, you're talking about a man like Chris Roberts that has a history in game development. He understands the industry.
Yes. That's already, I think that this is the biggest strength of Star Citizen compared to other similar projects that we're being seen right now. Yes, looking at you, Star Atlas, is that Chris Roberts had experience when he started the game. Chris Roberts not only had experience, but he also had contacts when he started the game. And that is what has also allowed him to get to where we are now, 10 years later. Has it been a bumpy road? Hell yeah, of course. Were mistakes made? Plenty of mistakes were made, of course. But at the same time, a lot of the technology that is being developed for Star Citizen have never been done before. So Chris Roberts has experience making games, yes, but he does not have experience making server meshing or persistent entity streaming. And so, see what I mean? So that's also why it's taking so long. But at the same time, he does have experience creating, or at least working on revolutionary tech or finding workarounds so that it looks good in games. Again, something I'm not convinced that the developers of other new games that aim at offering the same type of experience as Star Citizen do.
Like somebody just stepping in, not understanding or realizing the magnitude of the promises that he has put out.
Hey, Acid,
as the
you're
type
welcome,
of person
man.
that Chris is, he's a very domineering, kind of dominant guy. Like I've watched.
Put the
a lot
footage
of
on the
videos
second
where
channel, by
some
the way,
people
later.
say, wow, he kind of rules with an iron fist, and there's not a lot of democracy when it comes to the design within the company. And
Hey, you know what? If you want to. If you want democracy in private businesses, then that's not how it works, When you run a business, the boss is the decision maker, and if you don't follow the guidance of the decision maker, then go work somewhere else. That's the way it should work. So yeah, maybe some people were complaining, oh, there's Chris Roberts is a bit tyrannical, but he's just being a boss. That's how they are, and that's what makes a difference between an employee and a boss. When you are the employee, good soldiers follow orders. You do what you're being told, and if it doesn't work, you do exactly what you were told, and then it doesn't work. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. That is where bosses take responsibilities. But in these days and age, unfortunately, and I'm seeing that with young people, and when I was young myself, I perhaps also did not understand that so well. But that's the reality here.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I know that those types of people generally get things done, and that's a good thing. That type of leadership, really down to the pixel.
There you go.
I actually saw an interview where one of the...
Now, DG is definitely more senior than I am. And see, even back then, 5 years ago, when I think he was already older than I am right now, 5 years ago, he already had figured out that these types of bosses are the most effective ones, and they get things done. Absolutely.
Designers that he
By the way, isn't it awesome to look at the old R-Corp? Do you guys think that the old R-Corp looks better than the current one? I prefer this old styling so much better. It looks so much grittier and cyberpunk-ish. I just hope that they're going to be taking those assets and the style and put it on another planet, maybe less technological than R-Corp. I just loved walking around that particular area.
had employed in the early 2000s had said Chris pointed at a pixel and wanted one of the green pixels turned blue.
You never saw it in person? Yeah,
Like
it was a
the
long time ago.
pixels. That's how much of a perfectionist Chris is. And the perfectionist might be scaring people and thinking that the perfectionist is going to basically delay and delay and delay and delay and delay and delay. I get it. Don't be an investor, because you're not going to be happy unless you have that rush right away. And if you're that type of person, stay away from the game.
It still is the case today. It's very interesting to see that it's still the case today. If you want Star Citizen to be a perfect experience, it's not an experience for you right now. It's buggy, it's changing, there are wipes. The progress that you are doing in game can be gone at any time. It's something that you have to keep in mind when you are playing Star Citizen. And if that's something that frustrates you, if it's something that you don't want, Star Citizen is not for you.
I've seen how far it's come in 2 years. I've been in this for 2 years. That's my history. If I had been this in 3 or 4, I can't tell you that I think anything different about it, because I understand that.
You gotta go, Deplorable. Have a great day. Cheers.
And the people that come to the game is in the video that we talked about, last. My only fear about the people that are coming into the game.
Oh, look, there's someone coming out behind.
Tends to be this elitist, and this happens a lot in sci-fi games. I notice this happens quite a bit in sci-fi games, that you have like kind of an elitist attitude. And I don't know if it's because of there's a lot of people that have put the money that they have in the game or the time to research it. And let me tell you something.
Well, at the same time, sci-fi is it's not a genre that's popular among the masses, right? So maybe also, sci-fi includes, there's some science involved. You gotta like science, when you like sci-fi. So yeah, he's got a point. Some people are sometimes a little bit elitist. Maybe they think they're better than others because they're interested in science. I don't know, but that's something that I've noticed is quite interesting.
Star Citizen content, you got to know your stuff, or there's no sense in making the videos. I've spent a lot of time, but there's many people out there who have even done more, and not even on the content side, on the player side. I respect people like that to do that, but what I don't respect is when they put it back in your face, and the kind of snide, elitist attitudes really tend to take people like that have these dreams of what this game's going to be, and then come to this game, and it turns people off, and it does not help the growth. It does not help the community, and it doesn't help the people who are trying to make this game a reality. The PU is becoming more enriching of an experience, bringing in gamers from our own community, having a good time. And
we can tell DG is excited about the PU. He was excited in the PU back then, 5 years ago.
The rendering of the characters, the movement of the characters, the interactions between the characters and the ships, the ability to actually have multi-crew. The Star Marine introduction of FPS and testing of it.
All of that was there 5 years ago already.
There's so many advancements that have happened since I have played this game that for me to go back to the original truth about Star Citizen, where people are worried that this game is not going to come out, it will come out. And I don't even feel like it's a legitimate thing to start talking about this at this length. Because I think about the people that are really saying this are those loudest people. They're the people that really don't give a damn, and they want that rush right away.
And by the way, a fun fact about the people who still say that 5 years ago, so 10 years into development, a lot of these people, sometimes they're also content creators, right? A lot of these people actually play the game, They're like, oh, this is never gonna be out. Oh, it's not so great. Oh, it's so buggy. But they still play it every day,
And so, maybe I'm doing a disservice by continuing to talk about this. I want to talk about the people and their commitment within SIG right now.
A commercial. You know what? Let's watch DG's commercial. Let's support DG360. So we're going to be supporting DG360 here with the commercial. Very good. Interesting. So it's called Total Battle DG360. This one's for you. See, I'm not using ad blocks, DG. Shame. By the way, DG, when you're using ad blocks, you are not supporting the channels that you are watching in your stream. So you should be hitting that shame button. Shame. So I know DG is gonna be watching that. He likes to do reactions of the reactions to his reactions. See, I really want to click on skip, but not gonna do it. Doing it for my friend. No, I'm not gonna play. No, I'm not playing now. Alright, I'm gonna have to skip here. But I watched it.
You know, every time you see new information posted on the Star Citizen YouTube site, you can see the progression.
Oh, look at that. We can see the old loading screen here.
YouTube channel and the amount of content that they are producing for people. You have to take it seriously. These are real people, real jobs, real information that they are giving us.
Wow, look at that.
The truth about Star Citizen.
Look at that. It got a couple of missions. We had the different mission listings back in those days. You know, PI wanted, hack your crime stat. Yeah, DG had a crime stat. It's probably starting that remix.
Is that it is a game, and then it will come out.
And they had, look at that. That's funny. They also had FPS radar. Now, where is the FPS radar right now? They already had it back then.
If you are one of the people that are listening to the chatter about, oh, this is a piece of crap game, you can't even do this or you can't even do that, or all the negative shit that I hear like over and over again.
Oh, DJ, I'm gonna have to edit this out.
Man, just mute it, because it's at this point, it is a game. You can't be a gamer and look at this and say that it's not a game.
The flight suits definitely looked a bit different than what they are now. Wow, can't help but to look at DG's package here. Impressive.
You're not a gamer. Like, and you know what? This is such a new way to fund a game. And there's so much money and emotion tied into it that it's not unreasonable to think that there's going to have to be this kind of conflict, this friction, where people get upset about the fact that it's not out yet.
And there still is.
What they should really focus on.
But at the same time, it's interesting because, you know, 10 years into development, 5 years after this video was made, of course, we're having more than ever new players coming into the game, trying the game, you know, through the free fly events. And I think that because there's been a lot of content made between now and then 5 years ago about explaining how the game is, showing the bugs, you know, I think that we content creators also did a lot of that work, explaining to, I wouldn't say the masses, but to a wider audience how this game is being developed, how it works, what you should be expecting as well when you are playing this game. That I think that it has also, over time, the phenomenon did not disappear. We still see that, but we see it less and less. I think that 5 years later, people are more understanding that this is a process that takes time. At the same time, Cloud Imperial Games have also delivered some results. It's slow, but it's still coming in. And so it gives also them credit as well in the eyes of some of the doubters or naysayers. And back in those days, there were quite a few naysaying channels that were thriving that don't make content anymore because some of the criticisms that these channels were thriving in back in those days are not as much relevant today as they were before, or people are not interested in that anymore, perhaps. Here, Kadium says that the helmet looks like the Jar BB was in Death Stranding. I didn't play Death Stranding, but
I think
the effect looks really cool, though.
To get Squadron 42 out the door, and it doesn't
DG wanted Squadron 42 out of the door 5 years ago.
The same as the PU, or what Star Citizen portends to be. You know, something that will, because there's always these phases, there's these cycles. If you've noticed,
Yeah.
People get hyped. Woo, this is great. Some new feature of the game is released. And it's like, wow, this is great. And you get hype,
Still the
hype,
case.
hype, hype, hype. So many people just like building up, building up, building up. And then it's like, oh, you mean SIG has to do more work? Of course they do. Of course they do. There's so much work left. I'm not trying to fool you guys.
It's still happening now. We still have that, and we still see that with. I don't know if you guys know, but we still that also with some of the. There's been some really big, content creators talking about multi-million subscriber accounts getting into Star Citizen, and if you guys remember, their videos were also like, "Wow, Star Citizen is so cool! It's the best thing ever!" It's been like that for. First couple of months, they were so hyped about it. And then a couple of months after, you saw them starting to say, well, there's still a lot of work to do. It's not a perfect. Think about it before you join Star Citizen. They're starting to make this kind of content as well, right? You can see the hype train slowing down as well. It is still the case right now. It's just, it's the people who've joined recently are now experiencing that. And the old timers, like myself, who've been there for 10 years now. We're like, it's okay. I've seen that before. We're just here for the ride and enjoying the fun. We're done. When you've been there for 10 years, you're just done. Getting getting disappointed and hyped and disappointed. Just for me, every new thing, any new feature is cool, is exciting, and I'm just taking what I'm being given at this point. That's how I see it.
And to thinking that just because I'm telling you this game is going to be finished, that it's going to be done anytime soon. In past videos, I have told people how long that this game is going to take. And I've been pretty damn close on the schedules of when things are going to be released on all patches. Past 3.0, if you look at my 2016 sitcom video, I kind of lay out the groundwork on what I think and when these things are coming out, and I have been almost 100% correct. And that's because I understand the process of game design.
And that's where you see DG is one of the most underrated content creators for Star Citizen, because he is indeed very often correct.
That don't get talked about.
But then when he is correct, he brags about it.
By other content creators. I don't like just to post news, although that I do. But I'd like to talk about this with you because it's fun. It's interesting. You get to sit there and you get to listen to like, oh my God, here's something I haven't heard before. And you can comment, and comment unlike any other of the Star Citizen content videos and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about the development of...
We can see the Grimex elevators were not working so well already back in the
landing.
days.
Like how far in and, the whole thing and trading in 3.0. And I'm really into the economy and the industry. And that's going to take a long time to set up. But 3.0 itself is going to be out this year. A lot of people said end of June.
Oh, wow. The video was actually made before 3.0. I like how you say, I'm always correct. 3.0 is gonna be out around June. Sorry, DG, it was actually December. Not so correct there.
SIG has stated that there's some rumors that there might be some hiccups.
There were hiccups.
It doesn't matter because in this type of scenario, you have to be patient for this game. In the meantime, learn the mechanics of the game. Get people involved. Get people interested. Do something positive.
Kaden, that's actually a very good idea. They need to have a mission to fix the Grimex elevator.
There's so many intricacies even now within the flight panels. If you're a co-pilot, if you're a turret gunner, and you're trying to help SIG make a better turret gunning mechanic scenario. Because they need it. But there's a lot of points in this game where you guys can put your input in and help. And that's what our community does. I like to have a community that is very active and vocal.
DG had a pretty big roster of ships back in those days. Look at that. Look at how many Starfarers he had.
We're talking about owning your own shops, like brick and mortars. We're talking about things that don't get talked about. The truth about this game is it is in the design phase. That is the truth about this game.
And it still is. It still is. With the video we saw today, server meshing, they were still designing the process of how they were going to make server meshing in January of this year, in 2023. So it still is in a way. Of course, gameplay-wise, it's not in the design phase anymore. Well, it is, but for some of the gameplay loops that we don't have right now. But for a lot of what we've already had, it's already a lot of stuff has already been shipped. But if you think of how it was ago, 5 is actually more 6 years ago. lots of stuff did not exist right now. They were still in design phase 5 years after the first Kickstarter.
Game, and it will continue to be in the design phase even after it is finalized.
Yes.
There's your truth.
And he was right. Yep.
And
5 years ago,
the
still
way
is.
that this game is, and I like the fact that the game is built this way. I like that it is going to continually be designed upon. When the framework and the skeleton is actually put there in the nervous system, and you've got all these different systems on top of each other, and they are functioning, and you can actually put quote unquote finalized Star Citizen out on the market, what's going to end up happening is it's still going to be in the design phase. And I want that in a game because it means it's always going to be updated. It's always going to be
that's what we
looked
call a
at
live
for
service.
glitches. It's always going to be looked at for bugs. It's always going to continue to be upgraded. It's got a team behind it.
It's the difference between a game that's live and a game that's
video.
dead.
I think they'll cut some staff. I think they'll cut some designers. I think they'll cut some testers. I think it'll be cut down. It has to be. It can't just continue to be this juggernaut unless they're going to actually do the same thing with.
It's hilarious how he could use guns outside of GreenMax back in those days.
Chris, this is it. This is the one thing he's always wanted. This is his dream. That is the truth about Star Citizen. This is his dream. More truth. And when you have a man who's this dedicated and focused and a leader, and this is his dream, he will get it done at the expense of everything. Everything.
And that's why we're seeing with Squadron 42. Squadron 42 is even more of a dream for him than the Persistent Universe. The Persistent Universe funds Squadron 42, but Squadron 42 is his dream. Chris has always been into movies, into making movies. He wasn't successful at making movies, but he was successful at making games. So why not making a game that's also a movie? That's what Squadron 42 is going to be. That's his dream. That's why it's taking so much time. But as DG said in the video, Chris is also a perfectionist. He wants everything to be as perfect as it can be, and that's also why things get redone and redone and redone, and mechanism gets redone again until finally they get that level of perfection that he has envisioned for his project.
So stand behind it. If you're an investor, stand behind the game and don't always listen to the loudest people. Don't worry about the people that are like screaming stupid shit. Don't worry about
His
it.
words.
Because this game is a labor of love. And those people that are invested in it, their hearts are in this game. That is where my subscriber base lives. In the emotional context of the design of the game. It is right there where they live, eat, breathe, and sleep. They are gamers. They're the people that will back this and make it into reality because they, like Chris, believe in this reality.
Yep.
That's all there is. That's all there is. Thank you, gamers. Thank you, citizens. Do your best to bring new people in the game. And if you
we've done our best. We've done our best. Very interesting video from DG. DG was right. 99%. Yeah, he was not right about the release of 3.0, but very interesting to see the point of view of an old backer like DG who's been around for quite some time and see how things have evolved 5 years later and see how right we could have been or not based on our experience that we had 5 years ago. And who knows, it's going to be interesting also to check this out in 5 or 10 years to see if this is still going to be the case in those days. Anyway, guys, that is all for this video. And it's also all for this live stream. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Thank you so much to Twitch it as well for the bits. I don't know why the alert did not work, but much appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. It's on the second channel. You may not be subscribed to it yet, but there's going to be plenty of new content coming up on the second channel, so make sure to subscribe to not miss any of the new videos that are coming up. We also have new socials, so now I'm also on Instagram and on Dailymotion as well, so you might want to check them out too if you have not. I've been here, and I'll see you guys later.